is my first official video, and I've been always wanting to make videos for information purposes, and this is the first video in a series of videos that I'm gonna make that will show step by step how to manage a construction project. So my background for years has been working as a carpenter when I just came to this country, and working as a GC, general contractor, interior renovation mainly, and exterior, but residential. So working on seeing both sides over the years, I've seen a lot of things, and starting out working with a small contractor, and then starting my own business, and had a lot of struggles owning my own business, own construction business, self-employed basically, and grow the business a little bit here and there, ups and down, but it always was a struggle to find good workers. And back then, with my faulty thinking, I used to blame the workers, blame the contractors that I hired, and wasn't making enough money to feed my family, right? So seeing it as a learning from a small contractor, owning my own business, and then getting to a point where I actually, at least coming from where I'm coming from, I struck the biggest job I ever struck, and not struck, but got that big job, and started the job, and out the gate, the person who got me the job, he was basically the project manager, and he basically bargained off each floor, because it was a developer who was developing some condos in Brooklyn. I originally, when I came to this country, I lived in Brooklyn for many years, then moved to Queens, and this project that I got was in Brooklyn, and they were flipping this project from a multi-family dwelling to a condo. And what happened was, the contractor who gave me the job, I know him pretty well, he bargained off each floor $8,000. So my reputation in that neighborhood, this is Park Slope, Brooklyn, very affluent neighborhood, coming into the 2005 or so, it got really affluent. That's where the Brooklyn Nets is, and right in that same neighborhood. My reputation in that neighborhood was the cheap contractor, right? Very good, but cheap. So that was my reputation. So most people didn't want to pay me what I was really worth, and at the time I didn't even realize what I was worth until after this big job. So these guys, they're flipping this place, and I said to myself, if I don't make any money after striking this big job, the job was like $500,000 worth of revenue coming into my business. $500,000, that's 500, call it 400 and maybe $80,000 came through my bank account. I said, once I got the job, I said to myself, sat down one night, I said to myself, if I don't make any money on this job, I've got to close this business down and figure out what I'm doing wrong. So done. Didn't make any money after 1 year. Did it, for me, I did it in record time, but with a lot of stress, a lot of issues. Didn't have enough money for payroll, didn't have enough money for materials, didn't have enough money to purchase materials on a credit line. So once they pay me, I would take the money that they pay me to buy materials and pay workers. I didn't have a credit line with you know what I'm saying? So what happened was, after all of that, End up had to walk away from the job. Didn't want to pay me. I said I ran out of money again. They didn't want to pay. So I end up during that process coming down to the end of the project. I got to the last 2 floors and worked away from the top. It was 6 floors. Got to the end of the project and just painting was left on second and first floor, and basically had to walk away. So during that process, I said I'm not gonna make any money. I have to walk away. The guys one morning didn't turn up for work. I had like 6 guys, owed them for like 2 weeks worth of work they did, and I'm begging them to come back, come back. The owner of the flip, not the flip, but it's a big project, at least for me at the time, and they were pushing me to get the work done, but I don't have any capital to get the work done. So I end up had to get to the work this Monday morning. One guy showed up, and I needed 6 guys, 5 guys to get work done. So I told when the owner and the project manager of the owner turned up, he said, what's going on? You gotta get work done. I said, listen, man, I quit. Can't do it. I never quit on a job before, so I had already started setting up to leave to close my company. And what happened was, that exact morning, the next, I think maybe it was the same day, I went to go work with this new company and started working with that company. So now what happened is, I started working with that company. I realized what I'm worth, and over the years owning my own business, I couldn't make enough money to feed my family sometimes. Like, maybe by the time the project is done and I sit home for a couple of weeks or a month or a few days, by the time I added up, I probably was making like, paying taxes, insurance, whatever, probably was making like $120, $130 a day as a general contractor. So I only basically had the name as a contractor, but I wasn't making any money. So long story short, closed the business, start working with this company, and work with them for maybe 6 months. All of a sudden, the guy just fired me one Sunday evening because he had other projects going on. He needed another project manager and a good carpenter. And once his guys got freed up, he was just using me just to get his project, to finish his project. So this guy was very cold-hearted, where he hired me and just fired me once he got his project done. So so that's my background. And then now, after I realized working with this guy is very high-end jobs, and I realized, and even the project that I was doing was very high-end too, but I didn't have to do everything. I was just the contractor for the carpentry. I didn't have to manage the plumber or the electricians and all of that. So what happened is, once I finished with that and the guy fired me, I was bouncing around. I went back to work with the same guy who got me the big project, the project that was like $500,000. I started working on his project, but I told him I don't want to get a contract. I want to work basically as an employee. So he was giving me a 1099. So I go and clock in every morning, work. He knows me pretty well, so he wasn't watching me or whatever. I could work on my own schedule. I could make up the time if I come late, stuff like that. And we knocked out a lot of work for him at that point. So while I was there, he has a project manager, and it was very stressful working with that project manager because of how they did things, right? So I started thinking to myself, I need to move on and start working with a company, because one of the reasons why I closed the business, I said, if I'm known as a cheap contractor that works good, I need to work for a company that has the sales force and the team that they're getting these big jobs, right? Because while I was in the neighborhood, I see all these trucks, 4, 5 trucks, 10 trucks of the same company, and they're making a killing, right? And I'm like, I need to go work for one of these companies, because I know just by working with this guy that fired me, I realized that I could work more than you know what I'm saying, more than 130 a day, right? or I could work more than what I was paying my guys, because some of my guys I was paying them 220 as a a carpenter, or $200 a day. That's cash, right? And I said to myself, once I started working with that guy, he was paying me $250 a day, right? And I'm like, wow. So then after he fired me, I working with this guy. Boom. Then I start working. I said to myself, I'm valued maybe $350 a day, and start looking for that opportunity. And the guy who I was working, the developer that was doing the six family, that was $500,000. He hooked me up with a contracting firm in Manhattan, and I started working as a supervisor slash head carpenter, and was making the most money I ever made in my career as a carpenter and a contractor. And that was, I was making like $350 a day, and worked there for 2 years. Never worked in environment like that where it's semi-professional, where you have the owner who comes in a suit every day, and not every day, but when he comes around, he's in a suit, and he has maybe 30 guys working for him, and he has like 5 supervisor. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm one of the supervisor, and then it's just a lot of back and forth with supervisor throwing the blame on the workers, and then the owner who comes in his suit every day. He now that I learn more, I realize that he was the issue. He's the problem, because it starts from the head. So he's not holding his supervisor or his head supervisor accountable for things that goes wrong, because they are buddies like that, right? So then the main supervisor dropped the ball a lot of time, right? Because it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of organization, it's a lot of preparation. These guys is not doing that. They're just doing it on the fly at the moment, on the wing. When the pressure is on, then they'll buckle down and think about what's the step, what's the next step. But most morning, they didn't have a plan, they didn't have a game plan. You have, I'm the newest supervisor, and they're not delegating the work properly. So the bottom line of the story is, that's my background, right? So coming from working with a small contractor, working with as a contractor with companies that flip houses or turn apartment buildings into condo, as a contractor, working as with a smaller mid-sized contractor, and working with the biggest contractor that I ever worked with, that's working in Manhattan, doing apartments that's gonna value $13 million. I seen it all, right? So at this point, one of the reasons why I closed the business down was to try to figure out, what am I doing wrong, right? What am I doing wrong as a contractor? So then, once I closed the business down, and especially when I started working with the guy in Manhattan, I was making a lot of money, right? For me, that was a lot of money, because I was making like almost 90,000 a year, right? And I started that. This was like maybe 2014, around that time, and I started researching how. Even before I started working with that company, I started researching how to run a small construction company, and I watched a bunch of videos. I don't remember the name of that guy, but he had some good videos. He wrote a small book or booklet or whatever, and just start learning a lot of things that he was talking about was things that I've been through, but I just kind of blow them off to the side, because I was like, excuse me, I just blow them to the side. I'm like, while I was in the storm, I wasn't realizing that was things that I need to fix. But after closing the business, and I'm on the bench, I'm not on the field playing anymore, I'm on the bench now, right? So I'm just working for somebody, I'm not a contractor. I had time to think about all my mistakes, things that I did wrong, just by listening to these YouTube videos. That transition into me always seeing what these developers were doing, and that transition into me all these years wanting to invest in real estate, and years up on top of years trying to figure out how I could work in real estate and be my own investor, do rental properties, flip properties, but it just couldn't happen for me in New York. I wasn't skillful enough, I didn't know enough, and at this point I already did a few flips in Connecticut, that was Hartford, while I was living in Brooklyn. So then all of this process in the real estate game, in the construction game, I'm seeing all these issues with working for big companies, small companies, working for myself, working as a carpenter, working as a contractor. I'm seeing all these issues, right? And a lot of things that was going on is by by the fly at the moment. I'm in that same boat too. I'm doing things just by the fly at the moment. I'm not planning out the jobs properly. I'm not organized. The big guys that I'm working for is the same thing. They're not planning out the job. They're not organized. The teams is not organized. They don't have a training program. They don't have. They're doing the work. They are doing it back over. They're not paying attention. Simple things. They don't have good meetings. It just was on and on and on. So I'm saying I'm seeing it as a flipper. I'm seeing it as a investor. I'm now maybe 15 years into my construction journey as a contractor, flipper. I try to flip here and there, right? And I'm seeing it from every angle, and I'm like, the problem is the management of the construction site. So that's my background, right? So now finally moved out of New York, moved to Florida for 1 year. Now I moved to Connecticut because of real estate, right? And now I'm more full time. Now I got fired. Forget that part. After 2 years I got fired from that good paying job, right? So now at this point I purchased a house that I was gonna flip with a partner of mine, and that just turned out really bad because after I got fired, now I'm not able to refinance that house. I'm not making enough money to finish the project. My partner ran out of money, and just through that process of managing workers, living in New York, telling the guys to go to that house to work. When I come up on the weekends, they do total opposite of what we discussed before I left. And then I just realized that the management of the construction is very hard, very tedious. It has a lot of variables. Different parts of the country have different way how they build stuff. Different parts of the country. Going to Florida to live, I see that there's a different construction style, different materials, different techniques. The houses is not that old. They don't have basement. It's all different. They don't have a lot of old plaster walls down there versus up north. You have a lot of that. So seeing it on all sides, I realize that project management is a big problem, right? So now I go online and I'm trying to figure out project management in a detailed way, and I wasn't finding anything, and even up to today I'm not finding anything, right? And I would imagine, I'm looking at it, I'm saying, in this information age, one of the channels on YouTube that teach me the most and let me learn the most about a lot of the things that I'm gonna teach, especially when it comes to project management. I'll talk about real estate too. I'm an investor now, right? A lot of the things that I learned was from that bigger pockets, right? And they have this podcast and interview people and such alike, right? So what happened is that I learned a lot because they brought up a lot of learning tools, a lot of books that they read to become better investors. However, now we're living in the information age, right? And most contractors, they're not going to want to give away their best information, and they're not going to want to give away their way how they do their work. And a lot of them, they're not good. They're not good, right? So what happened, a lot of the contractors, they're not good, right? So then what happened is they're not organized enough. So how could they make a video on how to be organized or how to be a good contractor or train workers, right? So to be honest, I'm not saying that I'm the best contractor out there or I have a good system. To be honest with you, right now, I'm finishing up 3 unit for me and my partner that we're gonna rent, and I a lot of the things that I'm gonna show is stuff that I started to do and I stop, or I do it sometime and I stop. And so now I'm gonna try to my best to create a system where I could have it online, where I could show people and train people how to hire a contractor, how to manage a contractor, the reason why you have different levels of contractor, and how you can supervise and manage your contractor. Especially this channel, these videos is really for people who are who can't afford that top contractor for your flips, for your home renovations as a smaller contractor. Because if you hire the top guys, they'll come in and they'll put in your bathroom for $13,000 or $30,000 and do a good job and you don't have any issues. Hands down, right? More than likely you're gonna get that. But most people are looking for a bargain, they can't afford it, they wanna get their bathroom, their kitchen fixed up real nice, and they're trying to skim it on a budget, right? A lot of flippers, a lot of homeowners, they're not realistical with their budgets and they just pull a budget out their ass, out thin air, and just saying, oh, this is worth that. And a lot of times they look at the time, they look at painting, oh, I could roll paint on the wall, but they don't realize how much things come into renovating, painting, even though, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times a plumber will come in and charge big money, an electrician will come in and charge big money, and they spend less time on what they do, but what they do is really easy sometimes, but it's technical. But when painting, it's technical, but when you look at it, plastering, it's technical, but when you look at it, it looks like something you could do. Electrical and plumbing, you can't. So that's why that illusion of it's dangerous. It's more, they get more money more than the guy who could frame or sheetrock or stuff like that, right? So I'm here to break the mold. Can't find nothing on YouTube, I can't find nothing on Instagram, I can't, so I'm building it. I'm just gonna start from scratch and I'm gonna do step by step how to hire, how to manage, and how to do it on a budget, and how you can be realistic about hiring and managing a contractor. So that's my background. This might not bring a lot of value for you, but that's just my background story. That's gonna be my first video, maybe on YouTube, not on YouTube, but on my new channels, right? So, and as you can see, this is text. That's my middle name, 80% mindset, right? So I get to realize that the mindset, your mindset of how you think about things and how you want to get it done, that's the biggest thing that's blocking people, right? So a lot of the things that I will talk about might seem like it's obvious or that it should, but if you're not implementing them or you're not doing them and you're having pain in getting your projects done or you're investing or whatever, that's the issue. You don't know enough. If you're having issues and you're having problems and you can't solve them quick and you can't solve them efficiently, that means you don't know enough, right? So we're gonna show you the first thing you should do when hiring a contractor, and that's gonna be my next video. All right, the process of hiring, managing contractors, and even workers, how to manage them, right? Because sometimes you just need to get somebody to do something for 1 day, 2 days, or just do a small project, and you want to have the concepts and even see some visual in how to approach hiring them and walking them through the process. Because what happens is a lot of people are technicians that have the itch to become an entrepreneur or a business owner. But a lot of us, I shouldn't say people, because I'm one of them too, right? And I'm working on myself right now, right? We are good technicians. We understand the how to and how to do it, and we are skillful, right? but we don't understand the skill of running and operating a business. And that's what these videos are going to be for, is to systemize project management and training, really maybe just for myself. This might not be for everybody and people might not find value in it, but really and truly I'm really trying to build this for myself, because at some point I'm going to not be in Connecticut anymore, and I need to have a system how to manage contractors and workers from a distance, right? So this is kind of a selfish video also, but I'm hoping that this video will bring value to a massive amount of people, because there is nothing on the internet that teaches how to manage and how to supervise and run a construction site, especially working on a budget as a flipper, homeowner, and a small contractor that's working on a tight budget, right? And I have a lot of tips and tricks that I learned over the years, and simple things like even packing a dumpster. A lot of people just don't realize that they'll spend an arm and a leg because the way how guys pack the dumpster, right? So simple things, we're gonna discuss them. We're gonna show videos. We're gonna show how we do it, and we're gonna start knocking video after video after video. All right. So we're gonna build it out together. I'm gonna show it, and if you guys like and share, we could build this. But even if you don't like and share, it's okay with me. I'll have it for myself, alright? Because I could store all of it on the internet, and that's good with me, alright?